Now, as we mentioned earlier, Saudi Arabia has replaced several top military commanders, including the chief of staff and the heads of the ground forces. Let's look at this developing story with Bloomberg managing editor for Europe, the Middle East and Africa, Andrew Barden. He joins us live down the line. Andrew, I want to start off with late-night decrees from the royal court, which usually have major implications. This time around, it affects the military. What are the highlights of this, and what does that mean for what has been very rapidly shifting power scene in the kingdom?
Yusuf, they're always late-night decrees. I don't think I've ever had an early morning decree when it comes to Saudi Arabia. And as we know, MBS likes to work late through the night, and that's when these things come together. In this case, it's another overhaul of the traditional power bases in Saudi Arabia. He's done that before. He likes to shake things up. No reasons were given for these changes, but we've seen sweeping changes in the military, some changes in civilian postings. It could be part of his drive to make Saudi Arabia more of a meritocracy, bring in young leadership, bring in people that are close to him. It could be because the war in Yemen that they launched in 2015 is not going well. They are really hitting a wall there. There's a humanitarian disaster. They're facing a lot of heat. And so it may be a reboot on that sense. And it could be just to bring in more people that he trusts, people that are close to him, that will see him as he tries to push through this Vision 2030, or maybe a bit of all of those things. But what's clear is that, once again, he's come in and he's made some sweeping changes across the board, rebooting Saudi Arabia as he looks ahead.
To what extent, Andrew, is this a reflection of the failure a little bit, or the setbacks that the kingdom has suffered in the places like Yemen? Almost 3 years over there on the front lines, and you look elsewhere in the region where one could argue that the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has not made the kind of progress that he wants to be doing, and that's why he's made some of those changes.
I mean, we don't know. They haven't given us any reasons, but honestly, it's nearly impossible to find somebody who says that the war in Yemen is going well. You've got an outbreak of cholera. You've got malnourishment. You've got children starving, and you've got an absolute kind of geopolitical mess on your hands. So it would seem likely that in some way it's related to that. However, I would add that we did see some changes in civilian postings as well. We saw the first female deputy minister come in. This is part of the Crown Prince's plan to reboot Saudi Arabia. They're trying to drive economic growth. It's impossible to do that if you don't have women in the labor force. And so we saw them come in with the plans to allow women to drive. We saw them try to get them more into the workforce. And this, for Saudi Arabia, as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, is a pretty high-profile posting and perhaps an indication of other things to come on that front.